score! It's that time again. Time for another episode of New England Hockey Journal. I'm Evan Marinofsky. In the next half hour, we'll talk MIAA Division I boys hockey as the playoffs fast approach. Later, it's girls hockey and Duxbury head coach Dan Najarian as the Dragons gun for a third straight Division II title. And speaking of champions, we'll see what's happening down at Mount St. Charles Academy in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. It's a program that once won an astounding 26 straight titles. But we begin today talking NHL prospects from New England. We asked Dave Gregory from NHL Central Scouting to break down a small handful of local products who could hear their names called on draft day this summer. We started with Westbrook, Maine's Carter Amico playing with the U.S. national team's development program. Some had Amico going in round one of the draft before his season was cut short due to a knee injury.
He was trending very well with how his season was going. He was getting better and better with each of the viewings I had. He really translates well to the next level because if you look at how NHL teams build their clubs now, they look for that big defenseman on the back end who can handle the puck, move it very well. But the injury is going to make teams have to make some decisions and decide.
Locally here in New England, St. George's has Everett Baldwin, defenseman, Providence College commit. What do you make of his game?
Everett is one of the classic players coming out of prep school that makes Scout's job a little bit more difficult because there's more projection, obviously. The competition that he's played against is not going to be the same as if he was playing in junior or major junior, and it might make it a little bit easier to see how well-rounded his game is. But there's no questioning his skating ability and his ability to create offense and generate the attack. And that's, again, another quality that NHL clubs are always looking for, so that's going to make him attractive. I think he has the tools that take him to the next level.
Alex Donovan, a native of Darien, Connecticut, he's playing at Shattuck, committed to the University of Denver. What do you like about his game?
He's not super big, but he plays a bigger man's game. You know, he plays in all situations on that team, obviously. He's just so smart with the puck and willing to battle for the puck. He's the type of guy that he's going to go the college path, like the traditional college path in a sense through prep school and then on that way. And I think he's someone that's going to definitely have a chance at the next level if he keeps trending the way he is.
Another player who I think is interesting is one who played prep at St. Seb's. Now he's in the USHL, Norwell, Mass native, Teddy Mutrin.
I think I've seen Teddy's game adapt over the years, watching him as an underage player at St. Seb's. Turn into more of a power forward, than a pure skill player, which he could take advantage of playing prep hockey. He's a big, solid player that's hard to contain, especially below the dots. Had a lot of success. As he's gotten used to the USHL level of play, he's really adapted well.
Lastly, there's Vermont native Caden Harrington, big defenseman, played prep at Holderness. He went undrafted last year.
He's a great example of things that I've talked about over the years about why drafting out of prep school is so hard, because there was so much to like about him playing in his prep year. Again, he was sometimes the competition wasn't the greatest. He, easily dominated games at that level, and everybody wanted to know what happens when he moves up, and they were, in a sense, tentative to take him last year. I think it's very likely that they're not going to make that regrettable mistake again and leave him off the board in the later part of this draft.
For these and other locals, college hockey could be next. Perhaps junior hockey, such as the USHL. That league is among several still trying to sort out last November's NCAA ruling that allows CHL players to compete in Division I college hockey. Glenn Heffron is the USHL's president and commissioner.
Well, I think it may change the way we recruit. It could change, there could be some minor policy changes that we make on how we draft, when we draft. So there's a lot of things that we're talking about internally.
While it's not certain how the new ruling will play out, what the USHL does know is that the league will continue its long-standing goal of developing players.
92% of our games are played on Friday and Saturday, which means that gives us a lot of time Monday through Thursday for practice. So our teams are constantly in training mode in practice. They spend their entire day at the arena, whether it's off ice, classroom, or on ice. We're developing the players. We've had more draft picks than any other league in the world over the last 8 seasons. We're going to continue to be a good, trusted resource for players to develop their skills, not only on the ice, but off the ice, educationally. Like, that's what we've been doing.
After a break, a focus on boys high school hockey with the postseason getting even closer. New England Hockey Journal's Rinkwise podcast, hosted by me, Evan Marinofsky, is the hockey podcast for serious hockey players and their supporters to help guide them throughout their hockey careers with interviews and insight from some of the biggest names in the game. Download Rinkwise today wherever you get your podcasts or listen at hockeyjournal.com/podcast. Pope Francis, Hingham, St. John's Prep. The usual suspects are atop the board as the MIAA Division I boys playoff picture continues to take shape. So, with that, we welcome Paul McNamara from My Hockey Live for a playoff preview. Paul, welcome back.
Evan, always great to be with you, and I've seen you around the rinks a lot lately, and it's that time of year.
It is that time of year. We see each other every weekend, and then we go many months without seeing each other, and it's like I want to be back together during the winter. This season so far, been a weird one.
Well, it's been weird in some respects, but very competitive, I think is the word.
That's why it's weird. It's good.
And Pope Francis, the cream has risen to the top, but how deep that cream is this year is still to be determined. Some people think there's one of 10, 11, 12 teams could end up in the Garden on Championship Sunday, and we kind of think Pope has the edge in getting there.
They, to me, have been the number one team all year so far. And we sort of saw that before the year, I thought.
Pope has put together a great run under Coach Foley back behind the bench this year, and they're deep, they're still young, and they are built from the back like many good teams are, built around goaltender Nick Ritchie, the veteran.
And then you get to that next tier of teams. This is where things get really fun. Who else do you see kind of challenging Pope at the top?
Well, if you divide, a lot of people look at it, the Catholics and the publics, and the Catholics are led by Pope Francis, St. John's Prep. Catholic Memorial has come on strong, a very young team built around an 8th grade goaltender, by the way.
Incredible.
And BC High has risen in the ranks as well. And then you got lurking further down is Zavarian, but we think they'll be there. They are battle tested. They've been in the Garden 2 out of the last 4 years. And then you got the public side. You got Hingham, and then, as Coach Dan Brothers said, the team of the week in the Middlesex League among Belmont, Arlington, Reading, Winchester, Woburn, even Burlington. But those top 3 have battled and knocked each other off through the course of the season. And if you're Reading, you've tied a lot of those games. But those teams come into the conversation as well.
Belmont's an interesting team that sort of emerged out of that crew.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew about Adam Bauer, the veteran at center up front, and his younger brother, Ethan Bauer, who, as we speak, yesterday was phenomenal in that shutout win over Arlington. But those two, the Bauer family, kind of leads Belmont. And the first line with young Liam Gilderson on the left and Leo Packard on the right of Adam Bauer, I mean, it seems like they play the whole game. And defending them, as you have said, is going to be a tough task for anybody that comes up against Belmont in the tournament.
Hingham, where are you at with the Harbormen?
Well, I can't believe we've talked this long and not mentioned the Harbormen. Terrific program, deep, always in the conversation when it comes to the tournament in general, not just the publics. Terrific coaching staff led by Tony Messina. They ran the table. I think they were 10-1 at one point. They're deep. They're still young, but they've got a pretty good goalie, too, in Mike Carroll.
I was going to say, they're deep. They have high-end guys like Cam McKenna. They're battle-tested. They, as every season we say with Hingham, they're in it. They're going to make a run. They're at least built to make some sort of run. I dare ask, do you have a prediction? Do you have a final thought for who comes out with this in March?
I'd throw a line in the water, and if it lands among 4 or 5 teams, I mean, I always keep my eye on Zavarian. I think they're going to finish higher than their 9 spot where they are now. Their younger kids have gotten better. They found a goalie in Michael Bulkin. St. Mary's of Lynn is another one that's one of your favorites, built around a very good goalie, Smitty the goalie. They've played very good teams, so they're not afraid of anybody.
I think Pope gets there to the Garden, and I think it's one of those sleeper teams that goes up against them in the championship. That's my prediction.
Well,
that's what I think.
It's hard to bet against St. John's Prep. They lose everybody. We did talk about them earlier in the season, and they're very well coached, and they've gotten better as the season has gotten on. They dropped the game to CM late in the season, but they're going to work their way through 2 or 3 wins and then work from there.
Well, Paul, as always, thanks for your insight. Paul will be part of My Hockey Live's coverage of the NEPSAC boys and girls title games on Sunday, March 9th. And remember that My Hockey Live is where you can check out high school games in Massachusetts and prep school games throughout New England. Families, fans, and alumni can watch their favorite teams anytime and from anywhere. We continue next with a look at the Division II defending champ girls hockey team from Duxbury. For over 50 years, Laura Stam Power Skating has been training hockey players to skate faster, more powerfully, and more efficiently. Visit laurastam.com to learn more about their programs throughout North America and to register for their summer hockey clinics. Build your rink of dreams today, no matter what the size of your backyard rink, with high-quality white rink liners from J. Freeman. Call 800-841-9442 or sales@jfreemanco.net. They're gunning for 3 straight girls Division II titles, the Duxbury Dragons, who continue to be a South Shore powerhouse with the playoffs just around the corner. To talk Duxbury girls hockey, we welcome in head coach Dan Najarian. Dan, thanks for visiting with us today.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
So you are always in it. Duxbury is always in it. And I want to start there. Why is your program so good?
So I think it's a couple of things. You know, if you look back to the early 2010s, that team had a great run. They won 4 straight. And I think from there stemmed a tradition that we've been able to keep alive. And then the class that I have now that's been with me for the last 4 years has really been a fantastic senior class that I have. And they've kept the tradition up. But we take steps in the community, whether it's to have youth skates, we bring back the alumni. So we really try to make it much like a community amongst our teammates, our former players, and our future players, which helps keep kids in the school.
You made a really interesting comment in our last magazine to Patrick Donnelly. You did a great story on Hingham's Caroline Doherty, and you have a really good perspective on keeping talent in the MIAA, what it takes. And you mentioned sort of maybe the MIAA isn't the final destination for top players in girls hockey. Maybe, it's a stepping stone to prep. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. I had a unique perspective. I had a daughter that went to Buckingham, Brown and Nichols, and she went as a freshman. And so I saw the prep school from a parent standpoint. As the college ranks get more and more difficult to play in, because there's more players playing, with all the youth kids that come up, you've got a lot more girls that are playing hockey, and they want those prep school kids. So if we can provide an atmosphere where the girls can still have fun, they're not necessarily haven't been recruited to come to Duxbury. It's still the joy of playing for their town, playing hockey for all the right reasons before they go off to prep, where it becomes a little bit more of a job, right? You're there to play hockey, you're there to get to the next level. Well, if we embrace that rather than push away from it, I think you'll see a lot more girls stay for 2, 3, maybe 4 years and then go do a post-grad year. And that'll just help increase the strength of MIAA across the board. We're much like a prep school program. We have our own locker room down at the Bog, which has been great. The Bog has been great to us for the past decade or plus.
Who doesn't love the Bog?
Who doesn't love the Bog? Everybody loves the Bog, and they do a great job. The events are great there. We get preferred ice time from them. So we have our own locker room, we have strength and conditioning, we have off-season stuff that we do, whether it's in the community or whether it's just the girls getting together. So we run it much like you would see at a prep school.
Your senior class, 9 seniors, they've won 2 straight finals, they're going for 3. What makes that senior class so special?
So that's a group of girls that have been playing together since they were 8 or 9 years old. Really, really special group that stayed together, knows how to win hockey games late in the season, which is great. We'll see where this MIAA tournament takes us. That's what I love about the MIAA and high school hockey in general. Every season is different. Every team is very, very unique.
We're recording this shortly before the tournament. Where are you at sort of with your team right now?
In my mind, we got to get our offense going a little bit more. I think defensively we've been fantastic, and we've played all the best teams. We played Hingham twice. We played Archie's, we played NDA, so we're going to be battle-tested coming down the stretch for the tournament, and then it will come down to puck luck and who has it. And, the last 2 years we've been lucky enough to get that puck luck, and if we get it again, who knows?
Who are some of the players we should maybe be keeping an eye on?
On my team?
Yeah.
Sammy Norton on defense, number 7. She's, in my mind, probably one of the best skaters in the league. She really controls the ice when she's out there. Megan Carney, number 25, Addie Harrington, number 8, and Zoe Madigan, number 6 up front with Maeve Gallagher, another one of my seniors. And then I have a freshman, Cece Tremonte, who's chipped in 12 points, and a sophomore, Shay Martin, who's got 11 or 12 points. So the offense has been spread out, which is great. And it's just going to, like I said, it's going to come down to timing and puck luck.
That's what it always comes down to. That's Dan Najarian, head coach of the Duxbury girls hockey team. Thanks for stopping by today, and there will be more New England Hockey Journal after this.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Since 1972, Paul Vincent has been developing NHL and college hockey players. Train this spring and summer with Paul Vincent Hockey at one of its 4 Massachusetts locations in Canton, Falmouth, Middleton, and Saugus. To learn more and to reserve your spot today, visit pvhockey.com. Despite their loss in the Beanpot to the BU Terriers, the Boston College Eagles, as we tape the show, remain on top of Hockey East and reside as the #1 team in all of college hockey. And talk about winning hockey. Through the years, the Mount St. Charles Academy boys hockey program in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, defined winning a record 46 state championships, including a mind-boggling 26 in a row from 1978 to 2003. Numerous players have gone on to play at the college and pro levels. So, to talk about the Mount is Devin Rask, Director of Academy and 14U boys hockey coach. Devin, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, the Academy program, what makes it so special?
I think there's a few things. One, playing at your own age level, the kids are able to compete in a category where they're not pushed against older kids, and then they get that full-time hockey, they get the skills training, they get the weight training, they get everything. They're on the ice pretty much every day, so they get all the training that you can get to be able to be ready for that next level.
How have you found kids playing against their own age group? This is kind of a recent development in hockey. What have you found really works well there?
Well, I think it allows the kids to have confidence. The last thing you want to do is have a kid who's playing at a higher level that who is a top player, but all of a sudden struggles because he's getting pushed at a pace that he's not ready for, and then you lose that confidence. And how do you get that back?
And you guys have worked, even in a short amount of time with the Academy, you've worked with guys like James Hagans and Conrad Fonder, Carter Amico. What goes into those high-end guys?
Well, one,
quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, one, they're already very talented, right? And so now you put them in an environment where they have hockey all the time, where they have the video sessions, where they have the strength piece and the character that those kids have, and it just fuels everyone around them, including the coaches, and it makes for a great environment to learn.
And being in such a historic place like Adelard Arena with everything that's happened there, what's that like walking into every day?
Well, I mean, historic, right? Like you just said it, all the championships that have come before, it's just, you walk into that building and there's just something about it. And for us to come in there and build on that Belial success is it's tremendous.
Why do you think you guys have built on that so much with the success?
Great question. I think, one, it starts with the kids that made that commitment that first year to come to a new program and take that leap of faith. And that first year we had a lot of talent come through. Actually, Guillaume Richard, who was an NHL draft pick, LeMay, who's at Northeastern now, draft pick, Bolduc, who was there for a short period of time, a first rounder who's now in the NHL. And those kids came and laid the groundwork for where we are today.
It's an incredible thing what you guys have going on there. And someone like Bill Belial, obviously, kind of following in the footsteps a bit. What's that been like and sort of his footprint on Mount that you've walked into?
Well, the great part is I've got to know the Belial family, and I've known Peter and Dave beforehand coming there, and just the character and the type of person and what they instill, their values. And to me, coming there was just, let's build on that, because that's what matters first. And having these kids move on, eventually hockey's going to be over, so you want them to have all those values for them to be able to have success in the real world.
We know hockey's obviously an ever-changing landscape. Mount has been at the forefront of this for quite a while. How do you see Mount growing?
Well, we got to continue to do what we're doing and try to stay ahead of everything. And now with the new rule changes with the NCAA and CHL, those are the next steps. You know, understanding, okay, how's that going to affect the landscape of hockey? But ultimately sticking to what our values are and what we want to do and to develop and move these kids on, that matters first. And as long as we're doing that and the kids are going to continue to have success, then the program's going to have success.
You won a national championship last year with your 14 team. What goes into that?
There's a lot of preparation, and there's a lot of commitment from the parents and the families and the kids that goes into that. It's first 2 games of the season we lost, and when you start that way and you start to move forward, you start to understand you're going to have ups and downs, and ultimately the character in the locker room, the type of kids we had last year, you're not going to, as much as you have talent, yes, we have a lot of talent, it's the character of the kids, and we had unbelievable talent and leadership at the same time, and there's no better feeling than to see those kids have success like that.
Well, Devin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Finally, the latest edition of New England Hockey Journal magazine is available now. Among the stories inside, we look at the 10 best local prospects hoping to hear their names called in this summer's NHL Draft. Maddie Murphy of Dorchester, Mass. is on a mission to deliver a championship for Dexter Southfield before heading to BC. And Bruins phenom Matt Poitras isn't the only member of his family shining on the ice. Meet his sister Abby, who's playing at Merrimack. And that's it. Thanks for being here for New England Hockey Journal. I'm Evan Marinofsky. We'll see you at the rink.